Hey, Mrparka here. Sorry I'm looking a little tired. I just got up. Probably not the most appropriate time you should review, but I'm going to do it anyways. I'll be reviewing In the House of Flies. This is by the guys who did Disco Path and some other movies, and this is a Black Fawn, a Canadian DVD company. There'll be a link below if you guys want to purchase some of their movies. I would recommend picking this up and Disco Path. I haven't seen any of their other work yet. But In the House of Flies essentially follows the story of a very happy couple. You know, this is shown there in the beginning. They're at like a fair or something like that. I think that's a really good way to show a happy couple. You know, they're just going around. There's you know, doing things that couples do, showing their happiness and things like that. The opening music in there really has a good 80s vibe. In fact, the whole score kind of has like I want to say synth 80s score vibe to it, which I really dug. But essentially, the couple is kind of drugged in their car, and then they wake up in a you know, like a little basement. And, you know, people are going to think, well, then they have to kind of survive together and kind of play this killer's game or this psychopath's game. People are going to think, well, that's a big Saw ripoff. And you know what? Saw, I've had this conversation before with people, Dustin in particular. Saw is really not all that original in the first place. I mean, movies like Evil Dead Trap and Seven and Cube, and even the movie Silent Scream, the old Hammer episode, and reality, this movie's more so exactly like the Hammer horror episode Silent Scream with Peter Cushing and Brian Cox, which is a really cool little short movie on there, and I think it takes its main cue from there. I'm not sure. I believe they probably have seen that film. But idea of a couple people being trapped and having to fight for survival is nothing essentially new or different. What's different about this movie is it doesn't rely on gratuitous gore or anything like that, or real nasty shots. It's a lot of psychological stuff like that. Instead of having these two big pieces of crap characters at each other's throats immediately, or watch how bad these people are actually like each other. At points they have moments of weakness where they go at each other, but for the most part they love each other, and it shows. And they fight to survive. They keep their sense of humor at points, which I think is accurate. Movies with devoid of all humor, I don't ever think are realistic, ever.
Ringing's driving me insane. I've got it.
Take a break.
I don't know, nothing's worse or better than the ringing. I loosened it for you.
Because every time I've been in a bad situation, somebody still has the nerve to crack a couple jokes. And makes these characters likable as well, to see that they still tried to keep their sense of humor as the film progressed. And you know, for a movie where two people are trapped in a basement the entire time, you think you might get bored, but you do not. The acting's fairly solid, and they add some more things into the story to make it interesting. Essentially, there's only the two main actors. You do hear a voice, and it's played by Henry Rollins, and he's kind of just getting off on what these people will do to each other to survive. He makes a really great point in the film where he says, I envy you because you guys know what it's like to be the most animal instinct of survival, but you also know what the most human instinct is of love.
You're very fortunate. Most people never get to understand themselves the way you are understanding yourself right now. You, more than anyone you know, understands the most primal animal instinct. Survival. You also understand the most human of instincts. Love. I envy you.
And that was kind of a unique, I thought, cool line in the film. This film does have, you know, kind of the typical end where you're like, oh my god, is this going to happen? But I don't want to give away too much what happens, but I do like how it ends, because I just want to say things will never exactly be the same. But I'd recommend this one. It's got a cool score. It's well acted, and it's got likable pair of people in here, and that's really what's going to drive the movie. If you're going to watch an hour and a half of people sitting in a basement trying to get out, they have to have some kind of good character, some likable traits and things like that, and be able to act. Like I said, the score helps, and the idea that they're opening these briefcases to see what kind of food they get and whatnot. And if you guys have ever seen Silent Scream, this is more of a, I guess, dark, nastier Silent Scream, even though the plot for Silent Scream is pretty downbeat. The idea of a Nazi kidnapping an old Jewish prisoner and holding them in captive is pretty insane. But yeah, I would check this one out. I enjoyed it. I thought the acting was great. I thought the music score was a good choice. And there's something else I was trying to think about to say about this film. Some of the stuff that Henry Rollins says is pretty interesting. I kind of like the idea there. And it was a good way to get him in the film without actually having him in the film, if that makes any sense. I keep forgetting a thing or two, but yeah, I'd recommend this movie. It comes with the making of on there, which is kind of cool. And oh, there is some pretty nasty, disturbing stuff in here, but it's not actually shown on camera. There's no real need to show it, so it gets its point across without showing it, and it's actually kind of disturbing. You know, you've seen sometimes, you know, it works better without showing it. But In the House of Flies, I say check this one out. It's a pretty cool film. I enjoyed it thoroughly, and I'm going to check out their other stuff for sure. I'm Mr. Parka. Have a good one.